We realized that it was a great opportunity to, really make some noise about an ongoing situation that no matter how much the media covers it, it never goes away.
We're at a pivotal moment right now, and this is a big moment for all of us, not only as athletes, but as people and as citizens.
Whenever you're provided with a platform and you can make a significant change or just try and create a new narrative or new conversation, I think you have to capitalize on that moment.
Welcome to the MLS Weekend Preview Show brought to you by AT&T 5G. I am not Susanna Collins. I am Nico Cantor filling in for Susanna Collins. I'm accompanied by Calen Carr. Calen, welcome as always. Thank you for having me on this show. It's going to be fun to talk about some soccer, but we also have to talk about a little bit what happened during this midweek. A huge day in sports where games were postponed. It started with the Milwaukee Bucks and the NBA, and it trickled into the rest of the leagues, including the MLS, that took a stance. The players did, and it was that good trouble that John Lewis was talking about, right? And all these games were postponed afterwards.
No, absolutely, Nico. I mean, it was. I remember seeing the Bucks. And there was just the shot of the locker room of them not coming out. And I had a thought at that moment was, okay, well, there's a whole slate of MLS games tonight. How is this going to go? And ultimately, you saw what the Black Players for Change, alongside the solidarity showed across the league from players and staff to make really a courageous decision. I don't think you can call it anything other than that, to step forward and really what I think we've seen across sports from the NBA, the WNBA, and MLS is these players take the spotlight that is initially on you as a professional athlete and to put it on to the place that they want to point it to. And when you look at Jacob Blake and what happened to him being shot 7 times, I mean, these players are saying, hey, we have to put our attention towards this, and it's a call to action. So I was... it was inspiring. It was, I said the word courageous. I'll say it again. I think it was pretty fantastic to see these players really step forward and take part in a moment in sports history that, I couldn't have imagined.
Right. It was incredible to watch. We'll talk about how I lived it at the Inter Miami Stadium in a couple minutes, but this is athletes using their platform to talk about social issues, and they put pressure on each other. They came together and they realized that this for them was the right thing to do. 2020 has been a crazy year, and everybody is trying to put their little grain of salt in order to make this huge change, and athletes are realizing like this is the issue, and for MLS players and even WNBA players, and they're not like the superstars in the NBA that are the best at their trade in the entire world. There is some risk involved in saying, hey, we're going to protest, we're not going to play. And they finally did it, and props to them, because, this gets the conversation started. I don't think anybody's thinking like, by not playing these 5 games, racism is solved. But the important part is that you're focusing the attention somewhere else, and it's getting the conversation. I mean, look where we are. We're talking about it.
Yeah, and it's been conversation all over the world. I was on Sky Sports earlier today, and people are asking, looking towards these players in a pivotal moment and a really important year. And so when you look at it, yeah, there is risk involved. And I would say the solidarity expressed that I've seen throughout the last several weeks, really, if you look at some of the comments that have been made on MLS shows and otherwise, I just saw Jim Curtin really give a powerful statement in response. I think we're going to play some other players that have stepped up and spoken against this injustice and police brutality. So that's been fantastic. And it should also be mentioned, it hasn't only been met with positivity. There has been some pushback, whether from fans we saw in Dallas or in Salt Lake from the owner there. And so that's just another statement to say why it's so important. It almost reinforces why it's so important for these players to, across the league, of all races, to stand together in a moment like this. So I thought that was really important and a powerful message to send.
Black Players for Change took out the following statement amidst all of this that was going on. We fully support the actions today of our peers in MLS, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. As well as the recent actions of Atlanta United and Inter Miami CF, we continue to stand with those in the struggle for racial equality and human rights. As professional athletes, we must continue to speak out about these injustices and use our various platforms until we see change.
We're using our power right now, our voices right now, by saying we're not going to play because it's unacceptable what's going on in the world, especially here in the U.S. It's over and over, same things are happening, and there's no real, justice being given to us.
We're at the precipice of a time in our country where you want to be on the right side of history. You want to be on the side of history that says, I was a meaningful part of changing things for the better, of bringing awareness to the issues of social injustice and to making sure that equality is not just something we talk about, but something that's actually put into action.
I think if people understand that, there's certain things going on in the country which are unacceptable, and how, say, people with the biggest platforms, like people in the NBA, the stuff that they're saying, it's not to take anything away from anybody, it's to try and help people like them and trying to help. These are people who are Americans who deserve to be treated the same way as everybody else. And when you get behind that, it's moments like these which happen.
Enough is enough. I think we've seen way too many black men shot by police officers, and they need to be held accountable. I think there's a lot of changes that need to happen in our country, and we're at a pivotal moment right now, and this is a big moment for all of us, not only as athletes, but as people and as citizens.
The door is open for an ongoing conversation about these issues beyond this show. In the meantime, we're going to talk about what we're going to see this weekend in terms of soccer. So let's check what's on the slate. Yeah, it's a Canadian Classico, Le Classique, Montreal against Toronto FC, Le Impact de Montréal of Titi Henry, how about that? And Toronto with Pablo Piatti. Ush, what a golazo.
Nico, that's a strong start. How am I going to follow that one? But Pity Martinez, speaking of strong starts, coming back from MLS's back, he looks totally refreshed. 2 important goals, and then DK as well, putting them in the net for Orlando.
Hell is real. El infierno de verdad. I like it better in English. Locadia, and then Darlington Nagby. MLS's Sergio Busquets. I love that.
I think Busquets would be proud of that one. This is a Philadelphia team that has been on a roll. Shabilko scoring goals. And then on the other side, DC just still searching for them. Haven't been able to consistently find the back of the net. They'll need Kamara to handle that.
New York City FC coming off of a big win against Columbus, like a ring on your finger. Against Chicago Fire, who won in Soldier Field. Medran with a golazo. Now facing New York City FC.
New York Red Bull, a little bit with their, sort of back against the wall. Did this cross the line? Oh, I don't know. But I know this one did from Bunbury. Fantastic header. New England has been playing quite well. On momentum.
FC Dallas, it seems like every game for FC Dallas is important since they didn't participate in MLS's back. The semifinalists of that tournament, Minnesota, facing up against the team from Texas.
Colorado has been struggling. They will need a few, fortunate bounces. And then Sporting Kansas City, top of the West, but my Houston Dynamo put some goals on them last week.
Cali Clasico, LA Galaxy against San Jose. It feels good coming off of a win against LAFC, and then you head right into another rivalry match. San Jose trying to keep the fire alive from MLS's back.
Well, the MLS's back champs did not have the best start here. I mean, this goal from Duval was a nice one, but didn't count. And then you see RSL, they put a bunch of goals up last week. So Freddie Juarez is going to need to hopefully continue that.
Two teams in need of wins, Nashville, but Miami in need of their second win. Finally got the 3 points for the first time ever in club history. And now two teams facing up against each other.
Love that celebration. And speaking of celebration, this guy has had some reasons to do that. Is there anybody more in form right now than Raul Ruidiaz? And then, no, don't do this. Don't do this to me,
No.
Carlos. No Carlos Vela in this one. Hopefully he will be not out too long.
All right, so this is what we're looking at for this weekend. Friday, Montreal against Toronto starts at 8 p.m. And then Saturday, it's just like starting at 3:30, and shameless plug here, check out Univision on SAPN in Spanish, Atlanta, Orlando City, and then from there on out, it's like, dude, just prepare the grill, get some steak out, and just watch the entire slate that we got for you guys on Saturday. And if you guys don't eat steak, some vegan hamburgers, it's going to be like the best Saturday for soccer, and then the action continues into Sunday.
Yeah, that big one, Seattle versus LAFC on FS1, 10 p.m.
Remainder
Eastern.
of tonight's
I will have my eye on that one.
remainder of tonight's scheduled matches still, for the moment, very much in doubt as this delay continues at Inter Miami CF Stadium.
Guys, this just in, I was just speaking to Paul McDonough there, GM of Inter Miami. The game has officially been called off. Players are just talking at halfway. GMs are going inside. Coaches are going inside. Equipment managers are taking everything off the pitch as we speak.
So, Nico, we saw a little bit of that sort of moment live where the game was called off and has since been postponed. You were there at the time, being on the sideline, I believe. If you can, take us through a little bit of how that sort of happened minute by minute and maybe what was going through your mind.
Yeah, so on my way to the stadium, it was in the back of my head, like, this might get canceled. Because when the NBA acts first, I think it's like the NBA is like the pioneer league in these type of social issues. And since the Bucks took a stand, the rest of the teams took a stand. So there was a possibility, right, that this game would get postponed. So when I was there doing my pre-match interviews with Leandro González Pires, the English language broadcast had done it with Luis Robles right before Robles got together with Brad Guzan and Jeff Lorenowitz, and they started talking. I was right there, and it was impossible not to eavesdrop. I was listening to what they were saying, and you could feel that there was something bigger brewing. The thing is that they wanted to get a coordinated effort with Orlando City and Nashville, and by this time it was already like 7 p.m., just a little bit past 7 p.m., and the kickoff for Orlando-Nashville was just 30 minutes away. So the issue was trying to get into communication with the captains over there, like Dax McCarty, for example. And that was the delicate situation, right? They didn't want to not play their game and then have Orlando-Nashville play theirs, and it would just look bad on them. And I don't think that was the intent for Orlando-Nashville. Clearly there was a miscommunication. And again, the MLS isn't in a bubble anymore. It's not like the NBA where the teams can get together and the communication is much easier. This is a cross-country thing. So Inter Miami and Atlanta, the talks started happening there. We saw the tweets from Mark Anthony Kaye and Josie Altidore pre-game, and I think those were the first influences. You know, these players who aren't necessarily black, the captains of these teams, seeing these feelings that people from Black Players for Change are expressing. And they hopped onto that and piggybacked on this solidarity, and it was an incredible showing from the players. It was a little bit uncertain at times for us, the broadcasters, because we didn't know what was going on when the teams came out for protocol. Some were in their uniforms, but at the end of the day, we realized what was going on. And for the players, it was the right thing to do, and they took an important stance by not playing the game.
An incredible moment. I know one that, as media professionals, we stand behind them as well and support. So thanks for taking us through that moment in time from your perspective in Miami. Now, you mentioned the match didn't take place, as we all know, but the matches are resuming, and we will see Inter Miami on the field. When you look at this team, I mean, had a very difficult start, losing their first 5 matches, but then now seem to have found a little bit of joy in getting their first win. And so much of their success, and even in the bad times, the play of Pizarro has been really fantastic. What has he meant to this club, and has he been maybe better than expected?
Yeah, so Rodolfo Pizarro at times puts the team on his back, and I think that's because the team hasn't been playing up to par. I'm talking about those first 5 losses, and you've really seen him be the standout player in moments where Inter Miami needs it. I mean, they brought him as a DP, so you'd expect this type of play from him. But in the win against Orlando, I think it really came together. He's this guy that floats in between lines, that has this freedom to roam in the offensive third and really connect. He's the most important cog in this system because he'll feed out wide for Lewis on the right, for Pellegrini on the left. He connects with Carranza up top. So Pizarro's a really important factor in how Inter Miami plays things. He even drops deep to start the attack. I mean, if we see the first goal from the Orlando game, it starts from a ball played out of the back by Nico Figal, who's the right back. He finds Pizarro. Pizarro is in this like no man's land for the midfield and the defense, like floating, right? Where it's like you're trying to unsettle. Picks out Ulloa quickly to Sweat over the top to Juli Carranza, who just scores a fabulous header, and it's a big moment for him as well. And it shows that Pizarro is such an important piece to this puzzle for Inter Miami.
Well, they're adding to the puzzle. Matuidi comes in, but on a TAM deal, not a DP. So do you expect, there's been so many rumors about this final DP spot. How do you think they might use it?
Yeah, so when Paul McDonough and company pulled off the TAM signing for Blaise Matuidi, everybody was like, yeah, like they couldn't believe it. It was like TAM for the win, like, thank you, TAM. So the final DP spot apparently is going to find a striker, right? That's what they've been talking about. But imagine how important those 2 goals were for Carranza, right? The talk about getting a star striker. The fact that the team was 0-5 and that the whole pressure was 0-5-0, for doing it in American record talk. So the kid had a lot of pressure, and he came up big with 2 goals. So the fact that Inter Miami is still looking for a striker says a lot about the star power acquisition that they have. And they're just trying to bring in somebody that is a goal guarantee. And, if Carranza is still hot and you bring in somebody else, I think in the long run, Miami is a team to fear when you're slowly putting these pieces together and slowly trying to build this complete team that maybe 5 weeks ago didn't seem complete. So we're going to move on to a little bit of Rookie of the Year talk already. This 2020 has been a little bit weird, right, Calen? We've only played,
a lot
6 games? And look who has come up big. Daryl Dike. I don't think too many people knew who Daryl Dike was before, MLS is back. He made his debut during the tournament. I mean, does he have chances of becoming the AT&T Rookie of the Year?
I think he's got a great shot. I mean, anytime you score goals, you're going to put yourself in the conversation. And when you look at the number 9 situation for Orlando, and that's pretty wide open. So if he's can seize that spot, and then you have Mueller and Nani providing service, I think he might be a pretty good bet.
I mean, and imagine the opportunities, right? Soccer is so much about luck in certain situations and opportunities you get. Dom Dwyer being injured, right? And then Tesho Akindele kind of like losing his starting spot to DK, and then DK coming up big in important moments for Orlando. I mean, he scores a goal in Miami. They don't win that one, but then he comes up with a brace in the next game. I mean, these are big moments that kind of get you the spotlight. We weren't talking about Daryl DK in MLS's back. Like, where was he in the national conversation about soccer? We were talking about Ayo Akinola, we were talking about Chris Mueller, Brendan Aronson, and then, out of 2 games, you get Daryl DK. So it's good to see. I don't know if Orlando have had such a physical forward like that maybe since Kyle Larin.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be the closest comparison. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. But still early days. I think we still may see more players emerge.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the games coming up this weekend. Atlanta, Orlando. Pity Martinez. How crazy is he? I mean, that's the song that they would chant for him at River games. Pity Martinez. Que loco que está. Because he would just, kill it. He was unstoppable at River, and ever since Frank de Boer has left, he's had 1 game to prove himself, and he has just literally gone crazy.
Well, yeah, we hadn't seen that. I mean, you look at the highlights from his time at River and then in MLS, and it looked like 2 different players. He just didn't have the same confidence, and now you see maybe the change in manager, a little bit of change in formation. He moves out to the left a bit, and you see that quality beginning to shine through. But I think Orlando has a real chance to get their first win in this, I guess, I don't even know if you can call it a rivalry to this point, but, I mean, the complexion of the Orlando franchise coming from out of MLS's back has completely changed over time. So for a team in Atlanta that looks maybe more vulnerable than they've ever been, if you're Orlando, you have to be thinking you might be able to take your chance this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. This is a different Orlando team that we've ever seen under Oscar Pareja. Moving on to the next couple of matches, we've got rivalry matches for you in Cincinnati, Columbus, and Toronto FC Montreal. First up, hell is real. Which one are you more excited about, Calen?
Actually, both, because, I mean, I know that Columbus had their way with Cincinnati in the tournament, but that was before the current Cincinnati we saw. That was Jaap Stam's first match, so we'll see their new and improved defensive approach. But it's got to be Toronto versus Montreal. This is one of the best rivalries in MLS. It is always sure to get goals. It's always to have a little bit of drama. And the way that Toronto is playing right now, I think you give them the edge, but Titi has these guys playing well as well too, and Kyoto is always a threat, so a little bit of pace and behind, which has caused Toronto some problems in the past.
We actually have one more rivalry matchup, Cali Clásico, for you. LA Galaxy against San Jose Earthquakes. Do you think LA, Calen, can repeat their performance that they had against LAFC now against San Jose?
I do. They have to build on it, and a lot of the things that I saw from them were repeatable. I thought the way that they set up the back line and even the changes they made to it to do it. And then, look, when you have a guy like Pavon on your roster, you're always going to have a chance. And then Leggett ghosting in back to the back post. They played good football in this match. They actually really kept the ball. They deserved to win. They didn't really even look threatened at times from LAFC, who clearly did not have their best day. But if you're the Galaxy, you have to think that you can repeat being good on set pieces and taking your chances when they come, and then defending in the middle midfield. So I think they can keep it going. And
they did a good job without Chicharito anyway, so that's pretty noteworthy.
Jonah should play more in this one.
Yeah, we'll see. Seattle Sounders versus LAFC. We get a rematch of the game, and MLS is back. Seattle really probably going to want to brush up from that performance back then. But similar circumstances because LAFC doesn't have Carlos Vela.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it being a strange year, and these two teams didn't play that long ago, but there's so much that will have changed even, and Seattle looks in really good form right now, coming off that win against Portland, and then LAFC just did not look themselves in this last match, and part of it, I think, was trying to let Carlos reintegrate into the squad on the fly and find his fitness, and unfortunately he got hurt. But I think we'll see BWP back in the lineup from the start, and we saw how deadly he can be, how well he fits that system. And then when you have Rossi on the other side and just Rodriguez providing service, I think LAFC will kind of go back to the way we saw them before. And this will probably, for me, be the most interesting matchup of the weekend.
Yeah, for everybody wondering, Carlos Vela out with an MCL sprain grade 2. So they're constantly evaluating how long it's going to take him to get better. We don't know yet. MLS Predict 6 presented by BetMGM, a weekly free-to-play game from Major League Soccer. Correctly predict the final outcomes of the 6 featured MLS matches, along with secondary predictions such as which player or which team will score first or how many total goals will be scored. And listen to this. You could win $50,000. Head over to MLSpredict6.com and play for free.
I'm going to go with a bit of a letdown here and go with the Cascadia side with maybe the bigger trophy. Let's not forget that, and pick Seattle Sounders in this one.
Wow. Good job. Did you win the $50,000? Are you $50,000 richer?
No, I am not eligible, unfortunately. And we only replay these, Nico, whenever I get them right, which is I would say, admittedly rare. But yeah, I'll take it when it comes.
Well, the second one that didn't get played, I got to give you props because you said that the Inter Miami Orlando goal would come within the first 10 minutes. It came in the 12th minute, so pretty close. Well, I'm going to go with my first pick. Go ahead and say it out there. Atlanta against Orlando. The match winner, there's going to be none. It's going to be a tie. Atlanta, who had a decent showing against Nashville, and Orlando, who creamed Nashville in the second half. I think they're going to go into Atlanta with very high hopes, but Atlanta's going to know how to manage that game. So it's going to be a draw for me.
Nico, you're coming on Predict 6 and picking a draw? I didn't even know you could do that. I thought you had to go out on a limb and take a really bold choice, and I was thinking you were going to go with Orlando, but okay, fair enough. My pick is going to be between Cincinnati and Columbus, and after all the talk of making a bold pick, I'm going to go with the safe one and go with Columbus Crew. I think I think it will be closer than we saw in the past. Yes, Boo. I know FC Cincinnati much improved, and I put them with a real chance in this one, but I just think the matchup, the style, the way that Columbus is able to control the ball. I know Cincinnati doesn't really care much about that, but the quality in the final third and Gyasi Zardes, I think, ultimately make the difference alongside Zelerion. So I'm going with Columbus. I got to keep
secondary
the streak going.
Picks in the Seattle versus LAFC game. My pick for the player to score first is going to be the American, because even though Raul Ruidiaz is killing it, maybe LAFC is going to be too focused on him, and you're going to get those outlet runs. And Jordan Morris, when he wants to be unstoppable, there's nobody that's going to hold him back. So for me, Jordan Morris is going to be the first to score in the Seattle versus LAFC game.
All right, my secondary pick, I am going to the Cali Clasico, San Jose against LA, and for the first team to score, I'm from the Bay Area. This hurts, but I'm going to have to go with LA. I just think going with some momentum right now, and I know I don't even have to say who it's going to be, but why not? I'm going to go with Sebastian Lletget. I think he continues his goal-scoring form, and LA first on the board.
This is your schedule for this upcoming weekend. A handful of games: Montreal, Toronto, Atlanta, Orlando, New York, Chicago. Hell is real. New England, Red Bulls, Philadelphia, DC, FC Dallas, Minnesota, and there's more, Calen. There's still more games.
I like it. Yep, I'm tuned in all weekend. I told you, you'll be hearing from me, texting.
Yeah, Colorado, Sporting Kansas City, Portland, RSL, LA Galaxy, San Jose, Nashville, Inter Miami, and Seattle, LAFC. Your eyes have got to be glued on the screen the entire weekend long. MLS, rejoice. We have some soccer, and it seems like it's going to be exciting. When we didn't think that we were going to get some soccer at any point in this 2020, now we're finally rolling out with a lot of games. Calen, well, thank you very much for inviting me for this opportunity to be on the show with you guys, and thank you to everybody at MLS filling in for Susanna Collins. Hope to see her soon. So thanks a lot, and that's our show.